UFC Vegas 102. I'm here to break down the entire card, tell you who I think wins and how they win. Before we get started, let's just quickly recap last week's card, which was a brutal one for me. There were supposed to be 13 fights on the card. One ended up dropping, and then there was a draw, so we only had 11 fights to work with, where we ended up going 5-6. Not my best work at all. Honestly, one of the worst weeks I've ever had since I've been doing this, and I started over a year and a half ago, just so you guys can understand that. It's been a brutal start to the UFC season for me, and I'm looking to, change the tides this week. We have like 8 straight weeks of UFC. It's not the end of the world. I've had bad stretches before. Obviously, this one fucking blows, but it's okay. Like I said, we went 5-6. Not much I really want to talk about. We hit the first fight of the card, and then Jose failed. Cody Steele failed. Obviously, the Taporia brother did win. Wang did win. Slaviklaus lost. Jenkins was on his way to win, ended up getting subbed in the third. Jake Matthews won by decision. The Jimmy Crute fight was the draw. Then absolutely horrendous bet on Justin Tafa, or prediction I should say, as an underdog. Regardless, lost easily. And then might have been worse, Tatiana Suarez. Don't even know what I was thinking. Honestly, need the dunce hat for that one. And then we had DDP to win, which felt like an absolute shutout, a blowout, no question about it. Regardless of that, like I said, 5-6, there are plenty of fights on this card. There's 13 to be exact. Let's just get the ball rolling. I'm just tired of being mid. This is supposed to be my sport. I'm doing great in the NBA. I'm doing great on tennis, and I murdered the last few weeks of the NFL season. Just Super Bowl alone, I made $2,000, and then the week before that, I made $2,000, and the week before that, I made like I made like 1.2. So within those last 3 weeks or 4 weeks, I've made so much money on everything else but the UFC, and it's pissing me off. So let's get this one started, and hopefully and pray that we have a good week. Like I said, UFC Vegas 102, it is in the Apex. We have Jared Cannonier versus Rodrigues. We'll get to this card, or this fight, but we'll start from the bottom up. First fight, like I said, Cavalcanti versus Julia Avila. Alright, Cavalcanti's 8-1. Last fight was a win. She's an inch taller than Avila. 2-inch reach advantage and 3-inch leg reach advantage. Now, here's the thing. I'm not going to spend too much time on these prelims, because what I noticed is, and you guys feel the same way, I've been talking way too much on these prelims, especially these trash fights, or the fights that are like higher odds. Shouldn't really talk too much about it. Cavalcanti is coming in as a -700, so automatically there's a reason why. And Avila has not won since 2021, only has had one fight since then. She got subbed by washed Miesha Tate. Cavalcanti, on the other hand, 3-0 in the UFC. Last 2 fights split decision, but even that Nora Cornell fight, I mean, it felt like she won that fair and square. 3-0, like I said, she's coming in here as a massive dog. Now, do I think she knocks Avila out? Probably not. Like I said, her last fight was a sub loss to Miesha Tate. I'm going to go Cavalcanti to win this by submission or decision. Not going to overthink it too much. Not going to play it unless I take a sub prop, which might be plus money. We'll see. But aside from that, not too much value here. Could take a decision prop too, but not too much. Not too much, honestly, on a -700. So give me Jacqueline Cavalcanti to win by sub or decision. Now, next fight on the card. Don'Tale Mayes versus Walter Walker. Now, Don'Tale Mayes is 11-7. Walter Walker, 12-1. Same height. They're both monsters. Now, Don'Tale Mayes does have the reach advantage, and the leg reach is the exact same. But I guess where, although it favors Don'Tale Mayes, I mean, his striking is pretty damn subpar. When we go to his last fight, which was an L because he's been pretty inconsistent. He's 4-5 in the UFC. He lost to Gaziev by decision, and Gaziev did claim that he was hurt in that fight. He had broken his arm or something, and he still got taken at a decision because Gaziev was controlling him the whole time. Beat Machado. Like I said, he's just win-loss, win-loss. Before that Machado fight, his last win was Arlovsky in 2023. Like, not that impressive. Walter Walker is 1-1 in the UFC. Last win did come by heel hook versus Junior Tafa in Australia, so should count for something also. Went into, someone else's turf and dominated, where he was an underdog, I'm pretty sure. So he's coming in here as a minus, or I'm sorry, yes, this is wrong, bet 105, whatever you are, minus 240 on FanDuel. I think it's priced right, to be honest. I think that he is obviously going to be looking to take him down. 75% takedown accuracy, obviously. Only 2 fights to talk about, but almost averaging 5 takedowns a fight, 4.5. Dontel Mays doesn't have the best takedown defense, 58%. Like I said, he's been inconsistent. His striking, regardless of his reach advantage here, is pretty damn subpar. Walker's probably still going to keep controlling him on the cage, get him down eventually. Look for subs. Probably won't because Dontel Mays is pretty damn tough. Dontel Mays has been subbed twice in his career and hasn't happened since 2020 against Nascimento, where Nascimento is an absolute savage on the ground. Walker's going to be looking to get those takedowns. He's going to be looking to get a win. He wants to go above 500 in the UFC. He's on, he won one. He wants to win 2 straight. He's going to do everything possible. Not going to take that many risks, I think. So give me Walter Walker to win this by decision. Now, next fight. It's kind of a scrappy one. Not going to lie. It's Vince Morales versus Elijah Smith. Now, it is Elijah Smith's debut. He is coming from Contender Series where he did win by decision. Now, when we go to that fight, he landed virtually the same amount of strikes, only 1 less, but 5 takedowns and even had a sub attempt. I mean, absolute domination, to be honest. Not many stats that we can go based off, obviously, because it's his first fight in the UFC. Vince Morales has dropped 3 straight. Now, when we talk about the level of opponents, though, not bad. I mean, lost to Lapalus. Lapalus has that reach advantage. They're in France for this fight. Obviously, the home crowd. Everything was just going towards Lapalus winning this. But he did get his takedowns, but was just absolutely outstruck. Masterclass by Lapalus, to be honest. Then loses to Miles Johns, and then loses to Jonathan Martinez, both in 2022. So only fought once since 2022, November 2022. So 2 years and change. He's dropped 3 straight. I mean, not looking good for him, to be honest. Vince Morales is a young stud. I keep pressing him. I'm sorry. Elijah Smith is a young stud. I mean, he's not even 20. He's 22. Kind of crazy. I think the takedowns are going to be there. The striking, now it's a little scary betting on Contender Series fighters, but regardless of Morales' experience, I just don't think he's going to be able to get that much offense out there. As long as Smith manages his gas tank, obviously, Morales is very durable. So as long as he manages that gas tank for 3 rounds, he'll be able to pick up a nice decision win here, to be honest. Just don't get too crazy. I know it's your debut. He'll be able to do enough to get the W as long as he doesn't gas out. Now, if he does gas out, Morales might, get a little more pep in his step, and it might be kind of curtains, kind of like Cody Steele. It might not be the striking affair that Rongzhu put on Cody Steele, but it would just be enough to win. Morales will know what to do to win if he sees his opponents starting to gas. Hopefully, I don't think it gets to that point. It's honestly very close odds. Elijah Smith is at minus 166. Not too bad, to be honest. He was a minus 250. People saw, what's been going on with these Contender Series fighters. We've been talking about it since last year. But regardless, give me Elijah Smith to win this by decision. Now, next fight on the card. The Bonfim brother, the first one of the card, versus Khaos Williams. Now, both coming off of wins. Khaos Williams does have that 4.5-inch reach advantage and only half-inch leg reach advantage. Both are going to be very massive against someone like Bonfim. Now, when we talk about Khaos Williams, I love Khaos. I mean, he's been in the UFC for quite a while now. He's 15-3, 6-2 in the UFC. He's just been racking up wins. I mean, his two losses, one to Michel Pereira and one to Randy Brown, where that Randy Brown one was a split. I do think that Randy Brown did win that fight, but had he won that, well, had that split gone to his favor, he'd be on a 5-fight win streak, and he'd be 7-1 in the UFC. He'd probably be fighting like close to ranks, maybe even maybe top 12, top 13 at this point. Um, but he's fighting Gabriel Bonfim, and when we look at his fights, I mean, he knocked out Carlston Harris. I mean, Carlston Harris we know he's going to want to take it to the ground. Wasn't able to do that. Gets smoked, pretty much. Beats Bedoya. Bedoya's tough. Won by split decision. Bedoya has a hard-ass head. Has another win by TKO right before Randy Brown. Semmelsberger decision still. Dominations. I mean, when you see him fight, he's an animal. He's learned to just not rely on his power and his technical striking ability, which is honestly going to be huge here. Because someone like Bonfim is 16-1, and we saw his one loss was to Dalby by TKO because he was dead tired. I mean, it looked like he was in the Sahara Desert. Dalby's so durable. I mean, so durable. Hats off to him. We knew Dalby's like that. Dalby also has not lost to Brazilian since ever. So, what did we expect, to be honest? But picks up a good win by decision against Angelusa. Like I said, 4-1. 101 strikes, that's what I wanted to get to. Of course, Angelusa did land some takedowns. Bonfim, obviously, he's not a wrestler. He's going to be looking to just knock you out quick or try to break your neck. But 73% takedown defense, it's not like Khaos Williams is going to be looking to take him down, to be honest. 0% takedown accuracy. He's not tried a fucking takedown. Has not landed a takedown, I should say. But the striking is going to be there on both sides, so it really depends. 80% takedown defense. Like his arms, when Bonfim's going to be looking to clinch and try to push him to the cage, I mean, those underhooks are going to be huge, especially for Khaos Williams to just get out of those situations. Now, eventually, I feel like he might get taken down at least once or twice, and then we'll see how he works from there, because it's going to get pretty scary in there against Bonfim, especially early. We've seen Bonfim manage his gas tank a lot better now. He had a point to prove, and he did it against Lusa. I mean, people thought he was going to finish him because we haven't seen Bonfim go to a decision since or before that. So we were like, oh, what's that gas tank going to look like? And he showed us. He has, as long as he stays technical, stays clean, doesn't go too crazy early, and obviously doesn't fight someone who has an insane gas tank like Dalby. Now, Khaos Williams doesn't have the gas tank Dalby has. He will still be in there, when the bell rings and the fight's over, but he might get tired at some point, and the strikes aren't going to look the same. Just the movements, his movements are not going to look the same, and that's where I feel like Bonfim is going to capitalize here. I think that if he doesn't get him out of there early, I'm talking about Khaos, I think Bonfim is just going to just absolutely drown him there. Yeah, I think he's going to drown him, to be honest. And I love Khaos, honestly. Now, Bonfim is a minus 230 on FanDuel. Was a 245. Not really too much of a difference. I would not parlay this. It's scary betting against someone like Khaos Williams, especially for a fighter who gasses like Bonfim. Still, we don't know. It's only been one fight. We don't know. He could not gas in his last fight and gas here just based off the matchup and how much pressure Khaos is going to throw and give at him. But regardless, I do like Gabriel Bonfim to win this by sub or decision. I think he'll be able to get his neck early, if anything. If not, he'll probably just ride it out. Probably will be 1-1 going into the third. Gets a takedown, holds him there for dear life. So give me Gabriel Bonfim to win this by submission or decision. Now, next fight of the night. Rafael Estevam versus Jesus Aguilar. Now, it's always fun talking about Aguilar. Estevam is undefeated. He has a 6.5-inch reach because Aguilar's hands are like this. And he has a 1.5-inch leg reach advantage as well. Now, we'll talk about the undefeated stud first. Estevam 12-0, 1-0 in the UFC, beat Charles Johnson by decision, did come in a little overweight. Not much to really talk about him specifically, to be honest. Aside from that, did pick up a Dana White Contender Series win a few years ago. The striking's there. Now, it's mostly takedowns. I mean, he's going to be looking to take Jesus Aguilar down um, as much as possible. Only 19% takedown accuracy is gross, but he's averaging 3.35 takedowns, which means that you see how many how many he's attempting. Like he's going for dear life. He's going for it all. He does not give a fuck. But regardless of that, I mean, Aguilar pretty subpar, I would say. I mean, not the biggest fan, to be honest. 11-2, 3-1 in the UFC. Picked up 3 straight. Obviously, last one also came in. These are 2 fat fucks. Okay, they both came in overweight. Beats Nickel. Also another upset in Australia. Wins by guillotine. I mean, that was something that everyone was talking about. That Gilly is strong because his hands or his arms are small. So and he's brolic. So when when he cinches it and sinks it in, it's just like you can't get out. And that's exactly what happened. That's literally exactly what happened. Now my fear here is that Estevam is going to be looking for takedowns, him being fucking 12% takedown accuracy, and eventually Aguilar is going to be just absolutely like, okay, you want to keep going for takedowns, bitch? I'm going to fucking, and right to his neck. Now, I think that's going to, big possibility. I just don't think he sinks it in this time because Estevam, at least on the ground, is so much more sound than a lot of fighters that, what do you call it? That Aguilar has faced in the past, where it feels like even if he gets into the ground, he might be able to even finish Aguilar. Probably not by submission. I think that he might be able to land a mean ground and pound if he gets Aguilar tired enough. I'm not really loving this fight, to be honest, especially because of the odds. Minus 530 for Estevam. I mean, nasty. Started at 330. That was worth it maybe for a parlay. Minus 530 is disgusting, but I still think he does end up winning. So give me, it's such a nasty line, sorry. Give me Rafael Estevam to win by TKO or decision. I don't think he subs him. Aguilar's still pretty sound on the ground, but he might get some elbows thrown at him, so don't really want to risk that. Now, next fight, Jared Gordon versus Ruziboev. God, Jesus. Now, there's not much to even talk about in terms of stats and shit because Jared Gordon is from New York, so I'm going to support him regardless. But that's not really why. This fucker, no fights in the UFC. It's always very tricky betting on fuckers who have 0 fights in the UFC. 12-4-1 record. I mean, he looks like a father. He's 28. Me and him, we should look very similar, let's say. And I mean, look at this. 0-2. He was 5-2-1, and he was fighting. He fought 0-0-0-0-0-0. He fought 5 straight debutants that brought him from 5-2-1, which is a disgusting PFL record, to 9-2-1, which is a UFC record. Then he fought someone who's 0-7. This is all I'm going to tell you. He was 14-4, which is still bad, and he faced someone who was 0-2, and before that, another debutant. I mean, his last fight was against someone who's 8-9-1. Give me Jared Gordon to win this by TKO or decision. I'm not even going to fuck around. Minus 350. I don't even care. I mean, this dude is fighting scrubs. Jared Gordon has a chin. It's been tested against better opponents. Give me Jared Gordon to win this. I'm not. Come on, dog. That's disrespectful. Angela Hill versus Souza. Souza has some badass tattoos. Both same height. Now, Angela Hill does have the 1.5-inch reach advantage and 3.5-inch leg reach advantage. The leg reach is going to be huge. She's going to be attacking Souza's legs a lot. Souza's going to be looking to do the same, to be honest, because Angie does not check those kicks. I mean, when we look at stats, I mean, Angie's going to have a fucking list on her, to be honest, obviously. Last fight against Tabitha Ritchie, which we bet on Tabitha Ritchie and it worked out. God bless. It almost didn't, but it did, so fuck it. 12 losses by decision. I mean, absolutely atrocious, to be honest. But she had 2 nice wins, one against Pinheiro and then Denise Gomes, where she was a massive underdog. She was just able to just weather the storm early there. Able to weather the storm early. Lost to Mackenzie Dern in a 5-rounder. Mackenzie Dern, fine ass, looked great in that fight, to be honest. Now Souza, 2-1 in the UFC, lost to Karine Silva originally, but even in that fight, everyone was like, "It's fine, just give her some scrubs, and she'll bounce back." They gave her a scrub in Marnik Man, beat the hell out of her, and then they give her Yasmin. Now it's a little scary because Yasmin, we know the power puncher, she came in with a beautiful fight to start her UFC career, hasn't really panned out to what we thought she was going to be. To be honest, she lacks a chin, she lacks awareness absolutely everywhere, and it showed against Souza, who absolutely choked the fuck out of her not that long ago, actually in the Sphere. So, where I believe that she was also an underdog, which is hilarious. Now, obviously, only 3 fights, 4 in the UFC, so not too much. 62% takedown defense, 50% takedown accuracy, averaging a little under a takedown a fight. Similar, Angie, literally almost virtually the same there. 74% takedown defense. A lot of this fight is going to be handled on the feet, so it really depends on who you think is going to be able to just beat who up on the feet. And Souza, or I should say, Angie's very hittable. Souza's going to be attacking those legs. She's going to be piecing her the fuck up. I mean, it's a close fight. It's a really close fight. I just lean. I I lean Souza just a little bit, especially because of age. I mean, Souza just turned 30 not that long ago. Angie's like 50, dog. I'm lying. Angie's fucking 40. Yeah, I mean, she has the gas tank. We know that. She'll get tired a little bit here and there, but I think this is where it's the end of the road here. She lost to Ricci. The hands look good, just couldn't defend a takedown. I think, although Souza will likely not get that many takedowns, I think just she's going to be a little quicker in there. She's going to be able to piece up Angie a little bit more. Probably ends up winning 2 rounds, maybe even all 3, to be honest. When we look at the odds, Ketlen Souza, I mean, virtually a pick'em. She opened as an underdog at minus 106, then plus 100. Back to a pick'em. I mean, some books she's still a dog. Give me Ketlen Souza to win this by decision. It's hard to finish Angie, we know that. And damn near impossible. 11 wins by decision, 12 losses by decision. She's going to win or lose by the score card. So, give me Ketlen Souza to win this by decision. And just like that, holy shit, we're at the main card. Connor Matthews versus Jose Delgado. Now, Connor Matthews is 7-2. That boy stinks. Jose Delgado does have a 2-inch reach advantage and a 1-inch leg reach advantage. Let's talk about Connor Matthews real quick, because that boy is struggling. 7-2, 1-1. I'm sorry, 0-1 in the UFC. Got absolutely murked by Bazooka last year. Murked. Now, Dennis Bazooka needed that win, and guess what? He got it in the 3rd round. He fucked him up bad. Connor Matthews had his moments here and there. I mean, even in his Contender Series win. I mean, beat an undefeated dude, but nothing special. I mean, it feels like this is the end of the road for that boy, too. Jose Delgado, only 1 fight. Contender Series, did end up picking up a TKO win. Got the knockdown, obviously outstruck Ernie Juarez, and also got a few takedowns. The stats aren't going to be there that much. I just think that at this point in their careers, Connor Matthews' chin is gone. And then when we look at this fucking monster over here, I mean, he looks like a monster. He's gonna kill homeboy. I don't see how this gets past the 2nd round, to be honest. It's one of those things where Delgado seems to be a little more craftier. Just seems to be able to do a lot more on the feet. Connor Matthews could have his moments. Scary betting on a Contender Series, but they're both from Contender Series, so we got to look at the better fighter when it comes to that, not just the Contender Series curse. I just think Delgado is going to be able to be so much more craftier on the feet. He's going to be looking for teep kicks. He's going to be looking for liver shots. A knee. Those knees are going to be dangerous. Those knees are going to be fucking dangerous. I just don't see what Connor Matthews does. He averages 3 takedowns. One of those takedowns is just going to lead to a knee to his fucking dome piece. And I think Delgado is going to win. So give me Jose Delgado to win by knockout or TKO. Odds are disgusting. Rightfully so, minus 430. Give me Jose Delgado to win by TKO or decision. Now, next fight, Rodolfo Vieira versus Andre Petroski. Now, same height, same reach, and virtually the same leg reach advantage or leg reach there. We'll start with who's on the left. Rodolfo Vieira, 10-2, 9 wins by submission, 5-2 in the UFC. He's won 2 straight. Also just choked out Derek Brunson at ADXC, but choked out Armin, choked out Cody Brundage, lost to Chris Curtis by decision. Not terrible. I mean, lost to Fluffy, beat Stolfos. He's beating mid. He's losing to decent fighters, right? Petroski's in the middle there. It really depends on the type of Petroski we get, because some days he looks like a monster. He just lost a grappling match, actually, at Fury in December. But regardless, he won 2 straight so far in the UFC, both by decision, both domination. One of those, he was in the parlay of the week, I believe, against Fremd. Absolute domination. He'll just get on your back and just hold you there. His control time and just the way he's able to flow on the ground is beautiful to see, especially when he's up there. Now, is he going to be able to do that against Vieira? It's fucking tough because Vieira, obviously, 4 takedowns makes sense. 100% takedown defense. 100% takedown defense. 100% takedown defense. He's, like I said, 1-2 straight. He's landed a takedown in every fight except the Chris Curtis one, because we know Chris Curtis has 82% takedown defense. Now, Petroski, 80% takedown defense. It's going to be a lot harder to take him down. He's averaging just as many. When we look at the strikes, he's averaging 2.77 strikes, Petroski, where Vieira's throwing more, and that's where people are obviously understanding that when it gets to the control time on the ground, Vieira probably has the upper hand, but they're both going to be flowing. Vieira might invite Petroski on the ground, and it might cost him the fight, to be honest, because it might cause him to be on his back for too long. But if the fight doesn't pan out the way in that way, and it stays on the feet, I still lean Vieira, regardless of how much more sound he is on the ground. He knows Petroski, can hold his own down there, especially with control time and just top controls. So I still like Vieira here, to be honest. Vieira is a minus 265. That's kind of disgusting, to be honest. Kind of disgusting. Open at minus 215. I still don't like it there. Honestly, I feel like the odds are a little too wide for a fight that should be a lot more even. I think maybe minus 160 at most for Vieira, but it doesn't cause me to want to pick Petroski, to be honest. But I think Petroski's a decent fighter. I think Vieira is just going to be able to do too much or more, and I think he might even be able to sub him. So give me Rodolfo Vieira to win this by submission. Now, 4 more fights. Not bad, to be honest. Bonfim versus Sadykhov. Now, Bonfim, 2 inches shorter, but has a 2.5-inch reach advantage and a 6-inch reach a leg reach disadvantage. Sadykhov is a big fuck. He's a big fuck, all right? Bonfim, 2-1. I mean, last fight against Vince Pichel. Vince is like fucking 1,000 years old. He's 42. And you took him to decision. Shame on you. Loses to BSD. Before that, I mean, dominance. When he wins, it's dominance. When he loses, he's murdered. Which was only once. Sadykhov, 9-1, 2-0 in the UFC with a draw. His last fight against Borshev was a draw, where he was winning a good amount of that fight, and he got smoked. Borshev was smoked. I watched it live. It was a shit show, to be honest. This is another fucker where when he fights, it's dominance. He just couldn't finish Borshev when he had moments to. Then hasn't fought since. That was a long time ago. He didn't fight in 2024. Both fights were canceled. Same time, though, in July. This is such a tricky fight because Sadykhov really isn't that bad. He's averaging almost 5 strikes per minute. Like I said, he did end up losing his striking battle. Did get the takedowns against Slavoclaus, who's not getting takedowns against Slavoclaus. And similar, Bonfim is averaging 3. Now his striking numbers are inflated because he landed 111 against Vince. I mean, Vince is 42. I could probably land at least 20. No, I can land like 40, I think, before Vince probably takes my head off. But regardless, 111. But Sadykhov, like I said, hasn't fought. Might be a little rusty in there. It's going to be tricky. He has one loss by submission, which is his first professional fight. And it's not like he's stat padding, really. I mean, he fought, 3-2, 2-0, 1-0, 9-1. Contender series. That's when shit gets real. Honestly, I still lean Bonfim just because of the time off. I don't know if he's going to be able to beat Bonfim at this point. Maybe if he had at least one fight in 2024, I'd feel a little more comfortable. Bonfim minus 230 on FanDuel, open at minus 140. That's where it should probably be, was like right here, I think he should be like a minus 200. Sadykhov has not fought, so give me Bonfim to win this by TKO or decision. Edmen Shahbazyan versus Dylan Budka. Now, Shahbazyan is 13-5. Budka is 7-4. Now, Shahbazyan has 2-inch height advantage, same reach, and a 1-inch leg reach advantage. Now, Shahbazyan fights like a monster, like an animal. Not a good one. I'm just saying, he just fights like kill or be killed. 6-5 in the UFC. I mean, he's just win-loss. This is so disgusting. When his first, if you know him, like, when he first started in the UFC, people thought he was going to be like a fucking animal. And then he drops 3 straight. Wins 1, loses to Fluffy, beats Dobson. Dobson sucks. Loses to Mearshart not that long ago. Dylan Budka, on the other hand, 7-4, 0-2 in the UFC. Dropped both. Lost to Petroski. Came in fat. Cesar Almeida, he won the first round. Ended up still getting smoked. Elbowed and just smoked in the second round. When Almeida was like, oh, I can just beat the shit out of you. And not just stuff takedowns. This is a tricky fight because they both suck. I just lean Edmen because of the caliber of UFC experience. Losing to Mearshart is terrible. Mearshart is terrible, but this is what throws me off. Minus 430. In what world is Edmen Shahbazyan a minus 430 fighter? Regardless, I do think that he wins. Unfortunately, give me Edmen Shahbazyan to win this by decision. I think he's just going to be able to do more. He's an animal. Like I said, he's going to be throwing more. The output's going to be there. He stuffs some takedowns. I don't see how Homeboy is going to get him out of there. Budka is going to need a finish, and I don't know how he's going to be able to do that. 65% takedown defense. Not the best, to be honest. But Dylan Budka, 38% takedown accuracy. Only 3 fights to judge, but kind of nasty. I'm not liking it. Give me Edmen Shahbazyan to win this by decision. Co-main event. We have Cavalcanti versus Youssef Zalal. Now, Kattar is coming in an inch taller, same reach advantage, and 1-inch leg reach advantage. We know Kattar's striking is absolutely clean. It's beautiful, but he has no takedown defense. I mean, homie loves to get taken down. So much is starting to get a little weird. Lost to Aljo because he couldn't stuff a takedown. He's lost 3 straight. Emmett, Arnold Allen, where he got smoked, and Aljo, where he got taken down 8 times. 72% takedown defense, but that doesn't matter because it really depends on who you're fighting. Now, Youssef Zalal is averaging a little over 2 takedowns a fight. He's won 3 straight since coming back to the UFC. Just beautiful. I mean, it's beautiful to see, to be honest. Beat Billy. He finished all 3. Beat Billy, beat Jarnell Evans, and beat Jack Shore. I thought coming into this fight I was going to be worried about the height, and then I found out that he's only an inch taller. And that is beautiful for Zalal. I think that the striking obviously is leaning towards Kattar. Now, if he's able to stuff those takedowns, it'll be scary. But Kattar's slowing down. We know the wear and tear is there. And it's affecting him. Zalal has another chance here, again, obviously, to make this run, the UFC run. He's fighting a number 10 in the division. He's not going to let this opportunity pass. Kattar is one of the, we should say, worst featherweights right now, ranking-wise. So he's still a solid fighter, but Zalal's hungrier. He just seems like he's going to be able to do more. I think he's going to be able to get those takedowns. And if he does, he's choking out Cavalcanti. Now, when we look at the odds are even worse. Odds are minus 500 for Zalal. I would never play this. I'm going to take Zalal to win by submission, most likely. Maybe a decision. Kattar is hard to finish. I mean, Zalal's not going to knock him out. We know that. So maybe a double chance depending on the odds. If it's like minus 150 for a sub decision, sign me up. I doubt it, though. It'll probably be minus 250. But sub, probably plus 200, 250, maybe even more. Oh, I don't mind that, to be honest. I like Zalal here. I think he's hungry. He deserves to be in the rankings now. He's a solid fighter. So give me Youssef Zalal to win this by submission. Now, main event. Jared Cannonier versus RoboCop. Now, Jared Cannonier coming in 4 inches shorter, which is crazy. 2.5 inch reach advantage, though. And RoboCop has a 1.5 inch leg reach advantage. Now, RoboCop's going to be looking to kick the fuck out of his legs early. It's the best way to fight. Jared Cannonier is going to be looking to counter when he leg kicks, especially with that 2.5 inch reach advantage. We know that we see his arms, they're long as fuck. He's going to be looking to jab RoboCop as much as possible. RoboCop does not know how to move his head. He just doesn't learn how to move his fucking head, ever. But Jared Cannonier is also 85 years old, and it fucking sucks because he should... If Jared Cannonier was 2 years younger, I swear to God, he's 40. If he was 38, I think he kills RoboCop. I think he fucking mauls him, and he just rips his fucking head off. It's scary, though. He's dropped 2 straight. Lost to Imavov by TKO. We bet on Imavov as an underdog. Very proud of it. But regardless, there were moments where he was winning that fight early, and then Imavov just started to turn up, because we know Imavov was a little bit of a slow starter. We saw that against Strickland as well, even though it was short notice. Fought Bohalio. Loses a close decision to Bohalio. It was 2-2 going into the 5th, and then Bohalio started to turn up. He dropped him. It was over from there. Loses a decision. Probably a 10-8, 5th round. Regardless, close fight. Very close fight. But he's dropped 2 straight, and that's fucking scary as fuck. Now, Gregory Rodrigues, 16-5, 7-2 in the UFC. He's won 3 straight. Beat Tululin, beat the fuck out of him, beat the fuck out of Brad Tavares, and beat CLD pretty decisively. I mean, outstruck CLD, which CLD was fucking around in that fight. But regardless, you outstrike the fucker who got signed to the UFC because of his striking. You did a good job. RoboCop also had some takedowns. 45 strikes is kind of gross, but regardless, still outstruck him. And when you look at the optics of the fight and you watch the fight, you're just like, yeah, no, easily won. No question. He's shown, he's lost, though. He's lost to Bruno Ferrer. He's lost to power punchers. Petrosian, like I said, Petrosian is an absolute animal sometimes when he wants to be. Pussy. We won't talk about these fucking fights from 2021, but Jared Cannonier, I mean, like I said, he got outstruck by Bohalio a lot, but regardless, it was still a close fight. Imavov, it was a close fight. The striking even tells it. Jared Cannonier also fought like he was on steroids against Marvin Vettori and Strickland. Strickland was a little scary, kind of a split, but was a split. Probably should have lost. But regardless, this is what throws me off about this fight, is this right here. Jared Cannonier is a plus 186. I've seen Gregory Rodrigues on the mat versus Bruno Ferreira. Why is he a minus 245? I have never seen something from Gregory Rodrigues to make me think that he should be a top 6-7 UFC fighter. I don't even know. I mean, I'm shocked. I feel like this is one of those moments where we're just like, Jared Cannonier, you're going to beat the bricks out of him. The only fear is his age. He's old as shit, but still, like, when has that caused us to just be like, RoboCop's going to fuck him up? 5 rounds? Have we seen RoboCop in a 5-rounder? No. Can he hurt Jared Cannonier early? Absolutely. But if he doesn't, and this goes to the 3rd, 4th, 5th round, I mean, Jared Cannonier is going to slow down as well, but we haven't seen RoboCop in those moments. So how are we going to even... How are we even going to determine what's the best line here? What's way to bet on RoboCop aside from a fat early finish, first round finish maybe. But Jared Cannonier in those first few rounds, he knows how to move. He's going to be working on that jab. He's going to be looking to just absolutely level any type of offense thrown at him, counter strike him as much as possible. Because RoboCop's going to be looking for those legs. You know, that's how, first main event, they're like, RoboCop, you got to fucking kick him, use it early. Start kicking him early so he starts thinking about the leg kicks and you wear him down from the bottom up. So RoboCop's going to be doing that. Jared Cannonier's going to be doing the same thing, switch stances, but he's going to be countering a lot with that jab. That jab's going to be big. We've seen RoboCop have a fucking gap right here before. We saw his blood vessels. So this line confuses me. And for that reason, I'm going to go with the dog. The second dog. Souza's still a dog in some cards, or some books, so fuck it. But I'm going to go with the dog here. I just think that this line is a little overreacted. Now, Jared Cannonier can die in the first 2 rounds. But I'm okay with that because he's not the minus 200 favorite. Had RoboCop been plus 200, I probably would take RoboCop. But at those odds, it's kind of scary, to be honest. He has not shown too much to be that heavy of a favorite. So for that reason, I can't do it to myself. I can't do that. That's crazy. Give me Jared Cannonier to win this. And I think he finishes him. He still has the striking abilities and the advantages to put him out. So give me Jared Cannonier. Give me the Killer Gorilla to win this by knockout or TKO. And that concludes UFC Vegas 102. Like I said, I'm killing every other sport, but the UFC this start of the year has been absolutely brutal to me, and it pains me, hurts me, makes me want to cry. It's what I started doing. It's the reason why we amounted to so many followers on TikTok. It's everything I do. Like I've been watching these people fight for years and years and years before I've done this. I've been giving my friends bets before I even opened a TikTok. So I'm looking to bounce back here. Like I said, follow the Instagram. It's the same handle. From there, you'll be able to go on the link tree where the Discord is and everything of that sort. I did open a new TikTok, but not really posting too much on there. Everything, full card predictions will always be on YouTube now. And I just want to apologize for the late posting of this video. I want to keep it at Wednesdays. I'll tell you guys that right now. I want to keep it at Wednesdays, but this is going to be posted obviously probably Friday morning. I have had no power in my house, so the whole block is fucked because of the snow. So it's been hard to record. But regardless, I appreciate you all. I love you all. Please give this a like, comment your favorite fighter on who you think is going to win. Like I said, I've had a rough stretch early on, so all the positive comments are very much appreciated. I kill every other sport, so I can't even be mad. Too mad, at least. But I love you all. Make sure you subscribe. Obviously, like I said, we've had 15K on TikTok. I want 15K on YouTube, hopefully. So please give us a like, and hopefully we absolutely destroy this card. I love you all. Let's keep cashing.